Today we're talking climate change, and I remember the Paris Agreement, where you have 195 countries committing to reducing the whole, carbon in the system. Now, a lot of people say Ghanaians don't get climate change, or climate change is so far away from us. But let me just give you a quick highlight of what the Paris Agreement does or will do, and how we can get Ghanaians excited about it. Because, like they say, if the last tree dies, yeah, the last man dies, right? Okay, so this is the Paris Agreement, and this was, November 2015, and it changed the whole world. And I remember Kofi Annan talking about the fact that people don't want to commit and don't want to put money to it. And a lot of countries are guilty as to what we have, global emissions, to reduce global emissions. And the agreement seeks to look at, transparency and global stock take come together for the next 5 years, and sets ambitious targets required by science. Talks about strengthening society's ability to deal with impacts of climate change, look at losses, support EU and other developed countries to continue to support climate change education to reduce emissions in general. And I get excited when I hear people in Ghana, working to reducing the impact of climate change. Recently, they said the heat wave and all of that. There's a reason why we're experiencing all of that. And I have two young men in the studio to help us talk about it and what impact you can play in reducing the effects of. I have James Kweku Alinasi Blondie. He is a West Africa Country Director. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show. And also Moses Asamoah, West Africa. You're a researcher with West Africa. Yeah. What is the purpose of West Africa? What's the main purpose?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to your viewers. West Africa is an international organization that is set to focus on issues that relate to environment, that affect environment and health. And so we are doing a lot of things, especially with climate change, because we know that climate change currently is a global concern, and it's affecting the environment, it's affecting people, it's affecting even national economies, it's affecting the cost of living in every country. And so we think that it's very, very important that West Africa focuses its attention on some of these activities or events that affect the environment.
Okay, all right. And earlier when I was doing the introduction, I was a bit hesitant, because this is just the feeling that Ghanaians get. When you say climate change, everybody goes like, what's that? It's so far away from. Why do you think that people have such attitude to issues about climate change? Well, you can take that.
Okay. Yeah. Mostly with the knowledge that people have about climate change, most people attribute climate change to maybe national accusation, that we say that people, because of sins people have committed, they are not really looking into the things.
The science of it.
Yes, the science of it. Many people look at the other aspects of climate change without looking at the science of it, that we contribute much to it. That's why we are getting back what we put into the atmosphere.
Okay, how do we contribute to it?
We contribute in many ways. For instance, deforestation is one activity that is really contributing. And recently, our research that we did says that about 65% of vehicular emissions contribute to climate change. Yeah. So it means that our excessive emissions from our vehicles needs to be controlled, needs to be brought to a reasonable level that will not cause a lot of harm. So a lot of human activities that we do contribute to climate change.
All right.
And if I should define climate change, we're talking about it refers to changes in seasonal temperature, seasonal temperature, precipitation, wind and humidity over a long period of time.
Okay. All right. But do you see, you talk about reducing. I know there are some countries that are very strict on the emissions. And here, every day you see the vehicles. And now we even want to go to coal. We want to go and use coal when other countries are looking at taking a step back. So really, if you look at Ghana's situation, does it look like we even care about it?
Okay, looking at Ghana's situation now with the energy crisis we are facing, we've been forced to move into coal rather than cleaner energy. That is energy that we produce power on a zero emissions.
Sure.
Yeah. And those advanced countries that are really into the cleaner energy that they are driving towards, zero emissions. Although you can't do things that you wouldn't emit, but they are limiting it drastically. But Ghana, we are being pushed or forced to adapt on urgent basis, that we have to really plan with our energy sector, so that we can really focus for some years to come. If we are going into wind, if we are going to solar, if we are going to hydro, then we can know that yes, this is where, that's why we West Africa are into that, even though we are putting it there, but we must do something to sequestrate or to sink the carbon in the atmosphere already.
Okay. And if you've not seen Al Gore's documentary on climate change and its impact, maybe you should watch, because it simplifies the whole reason why we all need to commit to climate change. That if we do not take care, in the next 100 years, we're going to have extreme poverty. In fact, the whole world will just extinct, and we'll have extreme poverty. You have a lot of refugees, moving from other countries. There will just be no space for anybody. So what are you doing specifically to help and encourage people to to care a little bit about the environment that they live in? Okay,
thank you very much. I think what West Africa currently is doing is that we are actually coming up with a mechanism to control gas emissions, vehicular emissions. And that is one key thing that we're actually working with the Ministry of Transport and then the Ministry of Environment to make sure that we bring it to bear for Ghanaians to adhere to it, to control the emissions, vehicular emissions. Now, what currently we are, the campaign that we are launching is action to achieving a low carbon economy. I believe this is one aspect that the Paris Agreement talks about, helping African countries to achieve low economy. And this is very, very, very crucial. And we have started with the school children and then the youth. I'm going to start on a pilot basis from the northern sector. We're going to look at how school children will be engaged in tree planting. Already I know the Forestry Commission is doing something like that, but we want to encourage it more. I want to add more to it and let people do more about that.